I'm sitting here talking to you guys completely with the mic turned. You got to turn the mic on. What are you doing, Nate? It's one of those days. I was saying, welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me on this like dreary, rainy fall day, but I love these types of days. I'm so ready for Thanksgiving and family and the cold and the fireplace. I love all of it. I'm here for all of it. I want all of it. But I want you to come talk with me down in the comments. Take a second right now to come get in the comments and tell me something. What is something that you're thankful for? That in your life, it plays this really big role. It's something that you're very thankful for. But if others seen it, if others looked at it, they would think, that's small. That's insignificant. That isn't important to them. But for you, it's super important and you're really thankful for. I want to hear what those things are. For me, I'm going to sound like such a nerd, but I'm okay with it. Like, I've embraced this as who I'm a video gamer. I'm thankful for like our little video game community. And like every now and then I get to like slide over and just like relax and hang out with some folks and just play some mind-numbing video games for a little bit. It's like my reset button, but I love those little things. What is it for you? What's your little thing? Today, we're going to talk about how to become a better listener by getting rid of distractions. We've been doing this entire series talking about listening so that we can not only become better listeners in our lives, but that we can hear from God. I want to hear his direction for my life. I want to hear what he's saying to me and about me so that I can follow those steps inherently and just follow that out all the way through. And to do that, how do I hear the voice of God? Like, where, how, when, like what is this idea of a voice of God? I've never heard it audibly. I know some people have, and we have some biblical scriptures of people hearing the voice of God, but how do we hear the voice of God? To be a better listener, I've got to remove distraction. God's voice is often found in the place that I least expect it. That's what we're going to unpack today. If you want to hear our last message, I'm going to put this in, probably not live here, but later on, if you watch this, it's going to be in the top corner. We've been unpacking different stories. In the last one, we unpacked the woman at the well, and we did it over 2 different weeks because it was just so full of goodness. And honestly, we could have done that again for this story. It is just so full of goodness. The prophet Elijah, who is he? We don't really know. He kind of shows up out of nowhere. No like magnificent, magical backstory about his mother praying for him, his father almost sacrificed. There's none of that. No cool backstory. This guy just shows up in this weird time for the Hebrew people. They don't really have a king. They have these judges that are raised up, and now they've been through that, and they're placing kings, and then the kings have fallen away. Now they've got different kings over different tribes. It's craziness, and it's chaotic, and it's war, and it's death, and it is just the people have lost their way, and this guy shows up, and in the moment that he shows up, no beginning, we don't even know where he's from. That just this guy though was powerful, and he knew how to hear from God. He knew exactly how to hear the voice of God, and to do that, he pops up on our story. And the very first times that we begin to hear from him, he shows up and he's making this tremendous kind of decree. The Baals, the prophet of Baals, this like false god that they were worshiping, they had hundreds of prophets, and he wants to challenge them to almost like a spiritual duel. And so he does that. He challenges them to offer sacrifices. And it's actually kind of funny. And I feel like I would like Elijah's sense of humor. They're worshiping, they're praying that their god Baal would come and devour this thing that they've created, this kind of sacrifice to him, and they want to see him demonstrate his power. And in the middle of that, nothing happens, and Elijah's like, yo, maybe he's sleeping, maybe he's busy. You probably should pray louder. Like, see if you can like cut yourself a little harder or pray a little louder. Maybe you need to wake him up. And then he takes his sacrifice. Nothing happens for Baal. Takes his sacrifice, soaks it with water, does like all the things that you could do to something to make it not burn. God shows up, burns out the entire thing, and then they just like turn on the prophets of Baal. They kill these like false prophets for what they were doing. And now Elijah has caused himself some issues. This is the guy that prays in the middle of the drought. There has not been rain for over 3 years. God tells him to pray, and he begins to see this cloud that builds and builds and builds until there's this tremendous almost flood that's taking place. But in this prophet, in this process of hanging out with Baal's prophets and murdering them because they showed up and they were false prophets and they were leading the people astray, and they just kind of got their judgment because they couldn't prove that their God was actually real, and Elijah did. In this process, he upset the queen, Bathsheba, and she is not happy. Not Bathsheba, that's a different woman. I'm all over the place this morning. This is some of the struggles that you have when you live stream. It's like when you make a mistake, either live, you can like laugh it off, or when you make a mistake, like when you're recording, you just kind of cut it out. But when you're live streaming, like there's no humor that you can in place here. There's nothing that you just got to like push through it. All right. Her name was Jezebel. And so Jezebel is upset. She sends a message. I'm going to kill you for what you did. My dude takes off running, and he runs past a chariot. My guy was booking it. He was gone, okay? He could have been put in any kind of like Olympic race that we have right now. My guy ran past this chariot. He's gone. Now Jezebel, the queen, says she's going to kill him. He's now depressed. He goes and hides himself underneath a tree. You ever have that moment where things are like so bad, so like not the direction that you expected them to go, that all of a sudden you're like, yo, I'm done. I'm going to go get under my covers. I'm going to cover my head up. I want the whole world to go away. I'm done. I'm done. And then we got to like talk ourselves out of it. Or usually we have family or friends or loved ones that'll come and like get us out of that. Well, that's Elijah. He's under the tree and he doesn't have anybody with him. And so he's praying to God. He's like, I'm done. End me, kill me. I'm over. Like, she's out to get me. I'm done. And God tells him to rest. God does this really cool miracle. He feeds him with birds. Birds literally bring him steak and cheeses. Okay, I don't know if it was steak and cheeses, but he was bringing him food. He's in the middle of a desert. There's a cool brook that's running right next to this tree. So he's got fresh water. He's got fresh food. God tells him to rest. Does that for 2 days in a row as he prepared him for a journey to come. And I just felt like I need to pause real quick and just say, like, God is preparing something for you. I don't know where this finds you. I don't know what situations face you. I don't know what obstacles are in your way, but I know that God is preparing for you. And you think that you're resting because you're tired, you're wore out, and God is actually giving you rest to prepare you for what's to come. And I know that Thanksgiving and Christmas and these holidays that we have, or whatever holiday that you are experiencing, sometimes can come with it a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. We feel the pressures of culture, of society to do things that maybe are outside of our budgets or outside of what we are actually in a place to go. And so I just want to speak peace over you. I want you to know that God has rest for you, and whatever journey that you're facing in this moment, in this season, or maybe even what's to come in 2023. Because even if things are great right now, you got to know it is a season and seasons change. There is a rest and a provision for your needs that will prepare you for what's to come. 2 days, feeds him, gives him water, gives him rest, and then wakes him up and tells him, go. I want you to go to this mountain. And my dude does like the old woman power walk in the mall, right? Like you've seen our elders, they're getting their exercise in, they're power walking. My guy power walks 40 days, 40 nights. I don't know how good those steak and cheeses were, how good that clear, cool water from the brook was, but I can tell you 40 days and 40 nights to power walk to a mountain sounds pretty outrageous. My dude gets there. He is tired. He's worn out. No duh. Thank you, scriptures, for telling us that. And he goes down and he takes a nap. In the middle of that nap, God wakes him up and he asks him a very important question, a question that I want to ask you today, a question that Nate has been asking himself for months now. What are you doing here? And Elijah does what Nate does often. I've rehearsed the script, all of my stress and anxiety and pressures and things that I'm down about, things that I'm worried about. I've rehearsed it. I've ran the recording over in my head 100,000 times. Man, I could preach that script that I've put inside of my head 100 times about what is going on in my life right now. I don't need a rehearsal dinner for it. I don't need 100 takes. I'm ready for the second that somebody says, "How you doing?" And I'm going to let them know I'm doing. You ever find yourself caught in those conversations? "Hey man, how you doing today?" And then they let you know how they're really doing. And you're like, wow, I didn't have my coffee. I'm not fully prepared for the heaviness that you're throwing on me right now, but good luck the rest of your day. I mean, what do you even say after that? I'm like, yeah, now we both need therapy. I appreciate that, Elijah. Elijah starts spewing. She's out to kill me. She's killed all the prophets. I'm the only person in the entire world that is left. Man, have I felt that way before. Our entire journey up to this point in ministry, when we had the big transition to move to the city of New Orleans, to walk into the next phase, the next step of our journey in God and our journey in ministry, ever since then, I have felt like I am the only one that remembers who I am. I'm the only one left. And God's like, yo, okay, listen, I'm not going to respond to any of that. Matter of fact, we're just going to ignore everything that you just said. Instead, I want you to prepare yourself for an encounter. And so Elijah prepares himself for an encounter, and then some real craziness, as if this story isn't already too crazy, real craziness begins to happen. A hurricane comes, takes place. Winds so strong that the rocks of this mountain started to fall to pieces. This mountain started to crack, it started to break, it started to fall. And Elijah says, God's not in that. And then all of a sudden, after these winds, there was this tremendous earthquake that took place, as if the mountain falling apart because of strong winds wasn't enough. Now an earthquake takes place. I've never been in an earthquake, but I can tell you right now, to feel the entire earth below you moving has to feel like a pretty scary situation taking place. And Elijah says, God was not in the earthquake. And then fire. The wind isn't enough. Like not a nice breeze. No, wind so strong that the mountain's falling apart. And now you give me an earthquake. That's not enough. Now fire raining down from heaven. Now I find myself in a forest fire when there is no forest. I'm on a mountain. Now there's a forest fire. And God wasn't in the fire. Wasn't in the wind. Wasn't in the earthquake. Wasn't in the fire. But instead, after all three of these elements take place, there's a whisper. That caught his attention. Gets up, goes to the face of his opening of his cave. He prepares himself to encounter God in the whisper. And the whisper once again was, what are you doing here? Whispers cause me to rid myself of distractions. You ever find yourself in like a loud room and there's something on that you really want to hear, the radio, the TV, whatever it may be, someone telling a story? In the Cajun world, way down south, I'm sure it happens in all families, but it feels like it's inherently built into our DNA. When you have gatherings like Thanksgiving or birthday parties or whatever it may be, groups of people start to portion themselves off and have side conversations. And each of those conversations get louder and louder and louder. And two other conversations have to now get louder to talk over those conversations happening over there. And before you know it, the entire room level is so loud that you are literally screaming at the person sitting right in front of you. You got to lean in. You got to get people to quiet. Hey, shh, hey, I'm going to hear this. I don't want to miss it. Hey, shh, bring it. And that's what the whisper does. Whisper causes me to lean in. I got to get rid of distractions. Driving in a rainstorm, I got to turn down the radio. I got to focus. I got to lean in to really hear what everything is being said right now. And that whisper for Elijah is the whisper for you and I today. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Why are you watching this today? Why are you a part of our community? Why are you a part of your spiritual community? Why are you not part of a community? Where are you on your spiritual journey today? What is he saying for your life? Because the first step, hearing direction for my life, to hearing the voice of God over my life, to hearing what he's saying about me, is understanding, why am I here? Why am I in this place right now? Elijah's first step was to understand why he was where he was. What was it holding him back? Why was he not completing what God had asked him to complete? What does God have for your life? But he's waiting for you to realize what is holding you back. That isn't going to come in the grandness of the hurricane. It isn't going to come in the grandness of the earthquake. It isn't going to come in this tremendous fire. Instead, it's going to come small whisper, whispering over your life. And to hear him, we have to get rid of distractions. I got to get rid of distracting entertainment, distracting relationships, distracting obligations. And I think the thing that holds a lot of us back, at least for me, the distractions of the voices of fear. I got to get rid of all that stuff. I got to focus on the whisper. And in that whisper, I'm going to get my direction. I don't know why. This little earbud right here does not want to stay in at all. It's bothering me, but we're wrapping it up. Let me pray over you. Father, thank you for this group of people. I thank you for all that you are doing in our community of Home Church. I thank you for Thanksgiving and this like cultural thing that we have built in to pause, reflect, and be thankful for the things in our lives that we have, the abundance, especially here in America, that we have. And if we are not experiencing abundance, and thankful for the things that we do have. Father, I just pray peace over your people's minds and hearts over this season that we are entering of the holidays, the excitement of a new year. Some of us, 2022 has not been kind, and we need the reset. We need the rest. We need the provision. Most of all, Father, you are whispering great things over our lives. I pray that we would lean in. We rid ourselves of the distractions around us so that we can lean in, focus on the whisper you are saying over us. Pray that you would bless your people. In Jesus' name, amen. I've just got one thing for you. I want you to go to Home Church 217 in your app store, wherever you download apps, Google Play, the Apple App Store. Go download Home Church 217. I want you to come hang out with our app. There you can find our latest media, in-app messaging groups. You can talk to other people in our community. You can ask questions. You can give prayer requests. You can find out who we are, hear our story, a place where you can let us know your story and how to support you. There's also a Bible reading app on there, a note-taking application on there. It's also a place that you can give and support our ministry, especially during the holidays. We love to do things for our community and those who maybe are in need. And that's what our community is all about. This isn't going to some salary for me or salary for someone in our church community. This is going straight to the needs of the community. God has been good to our community. I am so blessed to be a part of Home Church. We want you to be a part of our app. I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm praying over you for the Thanksgiving holiday. I pray that you're safe if you're traveling. If you got people coming to you like we do, don't let it get to you. All right? Find time for worship. Listen to the whispers that God has over you. Don't allow things to distract you. I love you. Thanks for being a part of us. I'll see you here soon.
Yeah.
Smash that like and subscribe.